making a statement from what they have seen, heard, or felt since they came to the country on Monday. And now they are giving you their impressions of what they have seen. And to do that, we have two coaches. We have Reverend Rupert Hamdira from Botswana, who will be reading the statement. And we also, next to him, we have Reverend Dr. William Dechen from the South African Council of Churches. On the other side is Reverend Gabriel Zwanem, who is General Secretary of the Council of Churches in Botswana, but also the Secretary of Okisa. And next to me here is the chairperson of the Council of Southern Churches, Reverend Belindela Mabomo. And amongst us, we have other colleagues from Botswana, Zambia, Malawi, Tanzania, Mozambique, Lesotho, South Africa, who are here as part of this delegation. So, over to you, Reverend.
Yes, we are presenting a statement of hope and solidarity after the last 4 days of our intensive consultation with the various stakeholders. And so it reads as follows: that we, the representatives of the Fellowship of Christian Councils of Southern Africa, have spent a period of 1st to 4th of November in the Kingdom of Eswatini, where we were charged to undertake a pastoral solidarity visit after the recent unrests that resulted in the loss of lives, injuries, and incarceration of some of the demonstrators. During our time here, we have met delegations from the Executive Committee of the Council of Swaziland Churches, the pro-democracy political groupings, Human Rights Commission, trade unions, civil society, Business Eswatini, selected members of parliament, His Honor the Acting Prime Minister, the Council of Swaziland Churches, Council of Elders, and representatives from other church bodies. We have also used the time to visit some survivors of the unrest, as well as families who have lost loved ones, to express sympathy and condolences. From our various contacts, we have learned that the problems that ultimately resulted in the unrest on the 28th and 29th of June were not new, though the protests and the government's effort to curb them reached a hitherto unprecedented levels. The various groups we visited agreed that there are long-standing unresolved issues that have been simmering since the abrogation of the Independence Constitution by His Majesty King Sobhuza II in 1973. The following are some of the things that were identified as factors behind these unrests. 1. The people of Eswatini are demanding for democracy. 2. The economy does not serve all the Maswati, and that instead serves only a few privileged people. Number 3, the heavy-handedness of state apparatus in the treatment of the peaceful demonstrators, resulting in the loss of precious lives under nebulous circumstances, injuries, some of which have resulted in permanent disabilities of victims, and incarceration of political opponents, which are running for months without being either charged or tried. We have also learned with great pain that children are out of school due to the unrest, and that some of them are heavily traumatized by what they have experienced during the unrest. Some children are also reported to be absent from home and may have skipped the country to neighboring countries where they are recruited and enrolled in military establishments. From the aforesaid, we affirm that the people of Eswatini have gone through traumatizing and painful period and need justice and healing. In other words, only justice and healing. Justice can heal what they have gone through. That we note that the riots have had a knock on the economy of Eswatini, setting back efforts at employment creation and providing means of livelihood for the people. We note with concern that the situation where children of school-going age are out of school and that their parents are not aware of their whereabouts is an anomaly. And that we realize the unequivocal call of the people of Eswatini for constitutional reform, for democratic dispensation, service delivery based on fairness and justice, and an electoral reform that will ensure that Amaswati take responsibility for their political destiny. And Fukisa unequivocally condemns all uses of violence, whatever the source may be, as a means of addressing political challenges facing the country, and urges all stakeholders to engage in seeking political solutions to the challenges currently facing the country. Fukisa acknowledges with appreciation that all parties acknowledge the fact that there is a problem and have shown willingness to engage in dialogue that is aimed at finding mutually agreed upon long-standing solution to the crisis facing the country. Fukisa urges the government of Eswatini and SADC Troika to A, make a firm commitment to the dialogue process, B, give it the seriousness it deserves, C, to treat the need for dialogue as something very urgent, and D, to ensure its transparency and professional integrity, and E, to create an enabling environment to ensure that the dialogue takes place in a just, fair, and intimidation-free environment. Fukisa pledges, in collaboration with the Swaziland Council of Churches, to provide solidarity and support to the various stakeholders in the dialogue to ensure that they are adequately empowered to participate. And finally, Fukisa wishes and prays for peace, justice, democracy, good governance, and the prosperity of all the people of the Kingdom of Swaziland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend. In case there are questions, we will open this now for questions. If there is any question from the let me start with you say ladies first.
Thank you so much, Rev. I've heard that you have been in the country for quite some time. According to your own understanding and the way how Swazis are reacting to the situation of the political unrest, how can you say about the situation and the recipient of the people on the ground about the situation since 29 June?
Thank you for the question. We were here to listen to the people. What Reverend Hambira has read here is a summation of what we heard from the people. And there is no other way we can put it except the way we have heard it. It's difficult for us to come up with our own analysis because people who feel the pain have spoken to us, and we have no reason to doubt their honesty. We can only say it's so unfortunate that the events took place like this unprepared. The whole nation was unprepared, and things just took them by surprise. It's so sad that the intelligence could not detect that these things would take place. And of course, one of the things that we found, especially after completing all the hearings, is lack of communication. One party does not talk to the other. So it's like people want to compete with information superiority. If people of Eswatini could just learn to find each other, speak to one another, share the information that is there, perhaps things could not have turned to what we have witnessed over those days. Thank you.
People of Eswatini seemed to us like very peace-loving people. They don't want violence. They don't want the experience of 28th, 29th of June to recur, to come ever again near their homes and their children. But they are demanding democracy unequivocally. They are calling for a multi-party democracy. They are calling for an economy that serves them and not just serve a few individuals. I think that was very, very, very clear for us, that the call for democracy, and it's interesting that government also says yes to that call as far as we've heard today, but that it should be done within the constitutional provisions. It should come through the reviewing and of the existing constitution. I don't know if that's a point at which the various political establishments will agree or not, but there is willingness on both sides to move towards a new dispensation. And I hope it will be given the honesty and the integrity that it deserves. Because if we shortcut that process, then we are not being fair to ourselves. We are planting seeds of our own discord.
And one important thing we emphasized is that people of Eswatini should be prepared for the dialogue that is going to take place. They mustn't just be taken raw without any preparation, because that would be a recipe for a one-sided domination over the negotiations. Because, say, for example, government is always prepared because they process their systems, they know who's going to speak. But people of Eswatini may not be prepared as to say we have these people speaking on our behalf, because they experience things differently, and therefore there should be processes to prepare people of Eswatini for that kind of a dialogue that is going to take place, so that they know exactly what they are going to advocate for when they go for the dialogue. Thank you.
In fact, the issue of the dialogue has come from all sectors that we met with, including the Deputy Prime Minister when we met with him this afternoon. And we put it across to him that the people want dialogue. And it is out of our own assessment that we therefore call upon the government of Eswatini to ensure that the dialogue will be conducted in an atmosphere that is conducive, where nobody will feel threatened, because from all across the sectors that we met with, there has been an expression of concern over the venue and the processes of the conventional dialogue that often takes place in this country. So we call upon the government of this country, in the name of God, to ensure that all people are given fair share of discourse in the process of engagement for the attainment of what everybody is asking for: democracy and the revision of the constitution of this kingdom of Eswatini. We also pray for you, the people of Eswatini, and we hope that on the grounds of mutual engagement and progressive discourse, you will attain that which will be good for you, your people, and your children and their children. Thank you.
And in our prayers, we also have you, members of the media fraternity, for you have the responsibility to educate the nation. You have the responsibility to report freely and fairly. But I know it's not easy because in most cases, many dispensations wouldn't want people to get all the information. So please, you members of the media fraternity, make sure that you communicate with the people of Eswatini. As we said here, one of the gaps we've seen is in the area of communication. For example, after the visit by the president from the Republic of South Africa, we've seen what he has said. We have seen the statements that he has issued, but we have not seen much from the government of Eswatini. So it's very important that you make sure that you do your work in terms of educating the nation. Thank you.
Okay, there was another hand, but you didn't introduce yourself, not which
She did not.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Rev. I'm Nonhlanhla Labeni from Swaziland News. I think thanks for giving this opportunity. I want to take on another question. There's been a debate in the country on religion. One, you give me that one. Oh, you want? I want another one. Thanks, Rev. Thank you,
I
sir.
can't go to it this time.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, this is Eswatini from Times. Mine is brief. It's on point number 6, where you say, following what happened in the country, the people of Eswatini need justice and healing. How do you suggest to the people, both people and government, what should they do in order to get justice, and what both sides, like government should do this, the people should do this, in order to get the same also goes with in terms of getting the healing they need in order to move on forward.
Justice and healing.
Yes.
We are actually saying that only justice will bring healing to the people of Eswatini. And what we mean by that is that their principal needs, demands are met, that they are given a democratic dispensation. And how exactly that will come about, that is in the hands of the people of Eswatini. That is in the hands of the dialogue process. It's the dialogue process that will produce that product that will bring healing and comfort to the people of Eswatini. So we cannot sit here and prescribe what how exactly that healing and that justice will come. But if the dialogue process is handled very well, if it achieves its purpose, in other words, it meets the desires of those that have called for the dialogue, then they will receive healing from that process, because their needs, their greatest need, which is need for democracy, will have been met.
And one of the things one thing we shared with the Prime Minister, the acting Prime Minister, was it's quite important in the interest of justice and healing that while this kingdom is not a Christian kingdom, but it is ordinarily understood that it is a nation of Christians. And therefore it is necessary to consider the establishment of a day of national healing and reconciliation. It is necessary that within the institutions of government, there can be an establishment of chaplains, for example, who will be charged with ensuring that the brokenness of the nation, the frustrations and anger of the nation is managed from central operation of the government. So,
if people do not have that guaranteed or do not feel they are valued as human beings, they are not considered when important decisions are made, you will never have justice. And therefore, I like it as it was told to us that there are election processes that do take place, and there are people who are appointed by their constituencies to go to parliament. So justice would entail those people being able to give report to their constituencies and listening to their constituencies, taking the aspirations of their constituencies up to the highest of the levels of decision-making processes in the nation. And if people's aspirations get blocked somewhere, you cannot say there is justice. So you need to make sure that those aspirations reach up there. But now come to the immediate situation. As we discussed, even with the Deputy Prime Minister, we agreed that there must be measures in place to stop the violence. Because with violence, you can never have justice. Never have justice, because it will be violence and counter-violence and structural violence and any kind of violence that you can say. So stop violence. Whoever perpetrates violence, it must stop. Then once violence stops, there will be ways of talking, and people of Eswatini will be able to articulate their aspirations and experiences so clearly. It's the people of Eswatini who know what they mean when they say justice. Thank you.
Also, not only violence in this form of the military going out and shooting people, or the police, or the like. Also intimidation, that all forms of intimidation must cease so that people are able to speak freely, because that freedom in speaking has a positive dividend in bringing about the Swaziland that the Amaswati are looking for. The Swaziland that Amaswati want to live in lies in the thinking of the Amaswati themselves. So they must be allowed space and freedom to articulate the kind of country they want to live in, the kind of country they want to bring their children up, the kind of children they want to bequeath to their grandchildren. That wisdom lies in the nation, and if it is allowed to articulate it, it must be able to do that. The independence of 1968 must bring freedom to every Mswati, wherever they are and whatever their status is, whether they are a commoner or a royal. It must bring same freedom to everyone that lives in this kingdom.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? If not, it will be a bonus for you.
Covered, right?
You are covered.
You are covered.
Very well. Please.
Mine is, my name is Bonel Sibia from Eswatini. You have stated that you see the need for a dialogue. But my question would be, it is an open secret, it's an undeniable fact that one of the major demands that people in Eswatini have been making during the recent protest is the immediate release of incarcerated images. So my question would be, what is the stance of the recent churches with regards to that fact? Should they be released so that they can participate during the dialogue, or we would suggest that they should remain in jail while the dialogue is taking place?
There is no way that the dialogue can take place without such important stakeholders freely participating. They must be released forthwith. Actually, we have said in our statement, inadvertently, we have said, at least charge them, so that we can know what they are being charged with, and the whole world can know what they are being charged with. But otherwise, release them and give them all the freedom that they need to participate in the dialogue process. The dialogue cannot go on without those in, as far as we as the Fellowship of Churches of Southern Africa and our counterparts in Swaziland, the Council of Swaziland Churches, are concerned. Their release is an important point milestone in ensuring that there is a free and fair dialogue that is leading to the future that the people of this kingdom want. So we are unequivocal on their release. They must be released, and those that have fled the country must be given the freedom to return without being intimidated.
Ladies and gentlemen, Diana Mapanzi, so soon we will have to be driving home. But we want to say thank you so much. We know how busy you are as the media, and also we know the importance of you hearing and sharing information to the people of Eswatini. So we want to say thank you so much for coming at this late hour, and also maybe the chair will just say thank you to our visitors as we conclude, because after this I will want to invite you to think a meal.
Thank you very much, Jess, and thanks to the members of the media. You have never let us down each time we want to talk about the issues of this country. So we really appreciate the work that you are doing. We are endorsing what one of the chairs said here, that we are indeed praying for you. We know how hard it can also be for you and your families as you undertake your work. We will continue praying for you, and let us work together and the people of this country to have a Swaziland that is indeed favorable for every Emaswati. Thank you so much to the team from FOKISA for the wonderful work that you have done with us. I think amongst other things is that we have felt that we are not all alone. We have been doing this, and we were feeling lonely as the Council of Southern Churches in the midst of a bigger church in the country. But your coming to be with us has indeed revived us. We have the zeal and the oomph to keep on pushing and working with the people of this country so that eventually Eswatini is free and the people of this country do enjoy to be in this country and enjoy the resources of this country equally. So thank you so much. And we are looking forward to continue working together on the points and issues that we have raised whilst we are together. So thank you so much, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's also thank certain people who really worked outstandingly. Mandla, thank you so much, brother. I'm not sure who your boss is. Because your boss should be giving you a week time off for the great work that you have done in coordinating this whole trip. And I remember we spoke just close to the time of coming here, and it's not like it was organized like that haphazardly, because it has been a great success. We have seen you doing the impossible, and here we are now. We've come to the end of this. Chair and the GS of the CSC, you have displayed so much professionalism since we came here. We really want to thank you so much for this, and to pray that you will not be tired, but you go on and on. My brother, the General Secretary of FOKISA, you have been so circumspect with every detail and everything that is needed because you want to make sure that FOKISA does not fail under your administration. And we pray that you will grow stronger and stronger in doing what is good. I've just been seeing FOKISA, but not really comfortable with the level of effectiveness of FOKISA, because we've always known that from the AU side come to SADC, when they come together, it's just an old boys network. They just come together to do some funny things because they are not really effective. So as from today, I have a different perception and perspective about FOKISA. And we can only grow from this. There's a lot that FOKISA can do for our people in Southern Africa. We really need that. It's overdue. It's overdue. The church has not worked so much. What has been said here in Eswatini, that the voice of the church is not heard. It's the same in Africa, in the rest of the world. We need to have the voice of the church coming so loudly. To the leadership that came here to be with us here, it is something that should be cherished at all times. If I had medals, I would give each and every one of you for what you have done. My co-chair, I'm so happy that I started this work with you. I learned so much from your wisdom, experience. Of course, as a senior, you have been around, you have seen these things for quite a long time. And I now say, my chairpersonship comes to an end now. As we eat here, I will not be there. I've done what you asked me to do. Because it's you and him who put me in this on a serious note. I really thank you for listening to us, for even following whatever we're saying, though we are nobodies, really compared to your positions in the church. We're bishops here, we're people of seniority, but we worked together so well. I really do not regret any moment since I started this work. And I really thank you. You want to close? With that, then the bishop who disappeared is going from Malawi, is going to say the last prayer and send us. And the bishop from Malawi is going to do the last prayer to Matonga and pray. Once we are done, I just want you to be ready. A group photo. Okay.